Good evening and welcome to TalkSports, our regular, weekly, I should say, regular program where we meet and speak with the movers and shakers of sports, the sportsmen, the sportswomen, sports administrators, whoever involved in sports. Well, this evening, which incidentally is our final program for the year 2021, we'll be discussing and hearing the thoughts of three regional track and field athletes, three athletes from the NACAC region who somehow stole the spotlight, I should say, at the recent Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, which actually was held earlier this year. As you know, the 2020 Olympic Games were pushed back to 2021, and it was held this past summer. And the likes of Karani James of Grenada, there's also Stephen Gardner of the Bahamas, as well as his compatriot Shaunae Miller-Uibo. And incidentally, all three athletes competed in the 400 meters, albeit Shaunae Miller-Uibo in the women's 400 meters. And we'll hear from them and all about their preparations, the challenges they experienced at the preparing one for the Olympic Games, the Olympic Games itself, and what lies ahead for them in 2022 and beyond. Very interesting program indeed, I would say. Again, I'm saying this is our final program, and I also want to make known that looking back at 2021 and sports in general, the various sporting disciplines, I should say, especially in the Caribbean, in the Americas, whether it's North, Central, South, America, and the Americas in particular. So we have the CONCACAF, we have the NACAC, and others. I believe that the NACAC has been, for me, my choice of federation for 2021 in the context of all that the challenges that they faced and how they were able to weather the storm for 2021. Okay, so that's just my opinion. So first of all, we will go on with before I start, let me at least I must say good evening to some of our loyal fans who have been thick and thin over the past year. Of course, Rudy Sylvan in Toronto. Good evening to you. Joanne Jeremiah, good evening to you as well. And I hope all is well with you. Hope to hear a lot from you for 2022. And through the program, I will want to shout out. I will also shout out some of our other loyal viewers, I should say. Yes, Rudy is in the house, as per usual. So first of all, we'll hear from the gold medalist. That's Stephen Gardner. Very interesting discussion. And you'll also hear questions from Rudy Sylvan as well, who doesn't, allow them the opportunity to pass. He wanted to hear from those athletes. And, by the way, it was moderated by Sydney Modswell of the Cayman Islands. And in between, you may have some interruption because it was via a Zoom link. So first of all, let me introduce Stephen Gardner of the Bahamas, and he is the gold medalist. Okay,
and he will share his story with you guys, and then once he's finished, we'll ask athletes to raise their hand, and the facilitators will look to and call upon you to ask them 2 to 3 questions. So yes. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So leading up to the Tokyo Olympic Games, of course, it's a journey, and we're athletes and not all would sometimes go well for us. And for me, leading up to the Olympics in June, I had hurt my ankle in a race, and I wasn't too sure of whether or not I would be prepared for the Olympic Games and whether I would even be on the podium. And it was a trying time for me. But once I had gotten treatment onto my ankle, and I had a short time to gather my thoughts and just put it all into training and sacrifice so much just to lead up to the Olympic Games. And going to the Olympic Games, it was quite different. My first games was in 2016. The experience was amazing, and being in quarantine and of course in the pandemic, it was so not the same for me. But I just went to Tokyo on a journey to do what I wanted to do in 2016. I really wanted to make it to the final in the men's 400 in 2016, and also to be able to win a medal for my country and everybody. But all didn't end so well in 2016. But 2020 was a time for me to revive myself and just go out there and do what I was supposed to do way back when.
Thank you. Is there any questions? Do we have any questions? I'm checking. Okay, so I'll maybe our participants are they're a bit shy, so I'll ask a question.
I have a question for Shaunae.
You see a hand up?
No, I have a question.
Okay.
Hi, Stephen. My name is Rudy Sylvan. I'm from the Turks and Caicos Islands. So you guys there in the Bahamas are like our family. I want to know, when you stood on the podium to receive your medal, because I have young athletes that are actually here in the session today. I just want you to tell us, how did you feel waiting to receive, know that you had done it, waiting to actually receive that medal? What was the emotions?
That's a great question. At that moment, I had no emotions. It was so unreal. Like I did it. I waited 4 more years after Rio, and all the hard work and the trials I went through, and now is the moment that I'm receiving my blessing. I sowed, and now it's time for me to reap the rewards. But it was so unreal until like 2 weeks later. That's when the first time when I went home after the Olympics was the time when I cried, because it was actually, my dream actually came true, you know? And yeah, I think that's about it. But on the podium, for me, it was just, okay, I am the Olympic champion and I'm getting a medal. But it didn't like sink in as yet for me.
Thank you. I see a hand
Philippa?
up. I see Philippa.
Yes,
Okay.
Philippa.
Hi, everybody. Stephen, it's so happy that you're here, and so happy again to hear your story. You know, we've shared in it. My question for you is, going forward, you know, we appreciate the pride that you wear the colors. Going forward to the next Olympics, what's your plans? And, you know, now that you've taken it to this next level, and like you say, you've sowed, you've reaped, but what's next? What's next for Stephen? And I know you're not gonna, you know, disappoint all of us in the NACAC area, but tell us what's next.
What's next for me is a good question. I just want to do it all over again. You know, I did it before, and I just want to go out there and just do it all over again. I would live the moment for just to do it. You know, I always want to stay on top of my game, and I know what it feels to be a winner, and I just want to keep on winning and keep on putting everything on my resume. You know, adding more stuff to my resume as the years goes by.
We have Dion, then Michelin and Cameron.
The other two for the end of the open question.
I think they're athletes. Two of them are athletes.
Oh, okay. All right. I know athlete.
Good
Not
morning.
Dion.
Not an athlete. Stephen, as it relates to our future, I'm being a little prejudiced as relates to our future Bahamian up and coming athletes. What advice would you give to our athletes who are some of your biggest fans who are now preparing for Carifta as you would have started your first debut at Carifta?
Yes, I would say to them, all the athletes on here who are listening, follow your dreams and never give up. You know, it's always going to be people to tell you what's right for you and what they think should be right. And that's okay. But you have to, it's for you. So you have to know what you want. You know, you can't live someone else's dream, you know? And that's what I would say to them. And always be hungry and always want more. And don't ever settle for less.
Thank you, Cameron.
My question is, how did you know that the 400 meter was the event that you wanted to do?
That's a great question. So I started my track and field career in September of 2012. I went to an island near my island called Moores Island there in the Bahamas. I moved to an island near Moores Island in the Bahamas, and my high school coach, he asked me, he's like, which event do you want to do? I was like, the 200 meters. And I was so tall, and I guess he knows what's right for me. And he's like, okay, we're gonna try the 400. And I hated it at first, but now it's my event. It's the event that loves me, and I love it right back. So it's kind of a love-hate relationship because the workouts are crazy, but competing in the event, it's amazing. And when I get back, once I competed and I get back to my hotel or whatever, and I watch my race over, I was like, wow, that's actually me. And I didn't even want to do this event in the past. So now it's my all-time favorite event.
Thank you. Can we have, I think, Wayne, Gardner, and Rudy.
What image gets you ready to compete?
Pardon me, could you repeat that?
Which image gets you ready to compete?
What's what? Sorry?
What image gets you ready to compete?
It all starts at practice, I would say. The same thing I do in practice, I would go into a race and I would say to myself, okay, you did it in training and just do it one more time here. And this way you have to do it, you know? It's more adrenaline in the race, and that's always a good thing. And that's just what does it for me. I don't think too much about it, because thinking too much with, like, you know, your mind is a serious thing and it plays tricks on you. You have to be physically strong and mentally strong. So I would just go out there and just think of it as I'm in training once more.
Rudy?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's good. This is Rudy Sylvan. I'm Grenadian, but I am in Toronto. My question will go to all the athletes who are going to speak instead of asking the same question over. I am an Olympian for Grenada, and I know what it feels for me to go to the Olympics. The Olympics is different from every other major sports out there. So what does the Olympic mean to you personally?
Yes, that's a great question. For me, it's the highest level of our careers in track and field, and basically in most sports. And it's just so unreal to be the best person in the world, you know, in that event. And that's what does it for me. It's very unbelievable that us as humans, we can, all these people on the earth, and just one person get to be the best in the event in that time, in that era. That's what I would say for me.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Stevie. Stephen, I have a question is listed in the chat. And this will be the final question for you.
Okay.
It says, what has been your recollection of the interaction between yourself and Karani James and the Bahamas flag? That's the question.
Yes, I got that so much time. I posted it on my Facebook page, and everybody was like so amazed that another person from another athlete from another country, he was happy for me for winning, but he also won a medal. But even though he didn't win the gold medal at that time, he won a bronze medal, I think. Yeah, bronze medal. And he came over there. He didn't have to do it, but he took it upon himself, being an amazing athlete, and came over there and helped me, you know? And I really appreciate Karani for that. I have always looked up to Karani from watching him before I even started track and field, and from him being the Olympic champion also. And he's just an amazing athlete, and I wish him all the best in the future.
Thank you. Well, on behalf of NACA and the Gender Leadership Working Group, we thank you for taking the time to being here with us this morning and sharing your story. It's an inspirational story, and we hope that the young athletes that's on this platform will know that they can dream big. And even if they don't like the 400 meter, they should probably listen to their coach. You're an example.
Correct. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep. So that's So that's Stephen Gardner, the first of three from the NACAC Gender Leadership Virtual that was held recently. And as you see, being moderated there by Cindy Modesville, of the Cayman Islands. And as Stephen says, true sportsmanship by Karani James, who we hear from a little later on, when Kirani saw that the flag, that's the Bahamas flag, was being dragged, and picked it up, wrapped it around Stephen's, neck, and for many, that was, demonstrated the type of person that Kirani is, and he continues to be a role model for many. And he was one that was well noted. And as Stephen says, even though he didn't win, he still exerted that sportsmanship, as the saying goes from the school song, which Kirani knows very well: to win and be sporting is easy, to lose with a smile is hard, yet to the sportsman really, the gain is its own reward, taken from the GBSS school song. So from one champion to another, because the Bahamas, basically took the double at the Tokyo Olympic Games, with Stephen Gardner winning the men's 400 meters. And then you had Shaunae Miller-Uibo in the women's 400 meters, And no doubt it was a proud moment, not just for the Bahamas, but also for the NACAC region, as well, as we'll hear from Shaunae.
My journey this year was pretty bittersweet, but I wouldn't trade any moment of it for the world. We started off very strong. It's the same as every other year, where we would come in and focus really hard, train really hard to get prepared for whatever championship is there that year. And 2021 just happened to be the Olympic year. Obviously in 2020, things had happened. The pandemic came, and it was very unfortunate for a lot of the athletes, but we all regrouped and got ourselves prepared mentally and physically for the Olympics in 2021. And for me, it was very challenging. I've experienced a lot of injuries throughout 2021 season. And, at first everything was going really well. I mean, my coach, we had a plan set up with everything, and injuries just happen. It's a part of the sport, and, it comes and it goes, but you just have to stay mentally prepared for it and be ready to push through it. And that's exactly what we did. It wasn't pretty, but we got through it and we made it to the Olympic Games. When we got to the Olympics, I obviously was supposed to focus on both the 200 and the 400. And the 200 didn't go as planned as we had hoped, but obviously, you're at the Olympic Games, you kind of let things get onto you mentally. We had a lot of injuries, and you know, the main thing for me was just going in there, handling the business, representing my country well, and trying to come up with a gold medal, and that's exactly what we did. Yeah, the 200 was pretty tough for me, but just to see all the women do so well in the event, and not just in that event itself, but in the sport completely, it was an amazing moment to experience. And my hat always goes off to when I see women doing so well in the sport, and I think that we really carried the sport, and I want to say kudos to all the women for, you know, just handling the business that we did this year, and for you know, just kind of showing the world that we're here and we're here to stay. And we're going to put on great performances, and we're going to show you guys what we can do. And I'm just so proud of everyone. But yeah, finished off the season with a gold medal, another gold medal for the country. And yeah, it was an amazing experience, and I would trade it for the world.
Thank you, Shaunae. So let's see if we have a question. I know your name is not Wayne Gardner, right? But I apologize, Miss the young Gardners. Your hand is up. Do you have a question?
What is your inspiration?
That's a good question. My inspiration comes from my younger self. Like I said, I started track when I was 6, and I completely fell in love with it when I was 10. And from that moment, I kind of told myself what I wanted to accomplish in the sport. I wanted to be the best. And I'm still living off of that inspiration. I'm still working very hard towards that goal and hoping to accomplish it before I hang up my cleats.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Dalma. Donna, go ahead, and then we have Dalma.
Edith, we can't hardly hear you.
She's saying Zamar, go ahead, and then just calling the name out. So Zamar.
Okay.
Hiya. Sorry about the noise. I'm currently kind of still at work. My question to you is: you said you were injured. Well, I got injured about a year ago, and I've kind of lost the confidence to start track and field again. My question is: how do you gain that confidence back?
Well, first off, I want to tell you not to give up. I know it can be challenging, but you know, just keep your head up and keep pushing forward. Trust me, things are gonna fall into line. It might seem difficult in the moment, but everything's gonna clear up eventually. But yeah, it's. I think a lot of people don't quite understand how difficult injuries can take a toll on athletes, and depending on the level of the injury as well. Sometimes it feels like, man, I'm not sure how things are gonna turn out after this, but.
Excuse me a minute. Texture. Thank you. Sorry about that again.
But the main thing for you to do is just to stay positive and keep your mind in the right space, and just continue to work hard. And wherever God takes you, He's going to take you. And you just got to sit back and trust Him, and you know, see where things pan out.
Thank you, Shaunae. We have Jaden.
Good morning. My question was just, when you're in like preseason training, how do you know when you're ready to compete? Like, how do you know when you like feel confident?
That's a good question, actually. I think it's all about having great communication with your coach as well. Obviously, he has the eyes for everything, and he's going to lead you into the right direction. And you just have to sit down and discuss. You know, before we go into a track meet, it's always, am I ready? Do you think I'm ready to compete or not? But not just that, you also feel when you're ready to compete. You know, you just feel everything connecting and everything going well. You feel strong, you feel quick, and you just feel ready to compete. And sometimes you're not, and that's okay. Sometimes you just have to go out there and just put a time next to your name and a performance next to your name, and just go from there and try to build from that performance. But you know, it's all about having the confidence within yourself and knowing, this is how I'm feeling right now. I feel great and I'm ready to compete. And also, like I said, communicating with your coach and knowing, okay, we're in this together and we both think that this is the perfect time and we're ready.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jaden. So we have several hands up. did Rudy, and we have Rudy, Jarlins, and Herald.
Yes. So quick question. Based on the schedule of the Olympics, you and your team, your coaching team, decide to do the finals in both events. It works out for you, but in future it may not work out for other athletes based on the schedule. So what was the strategy behind running the 200 finals and then come back and run the 400?
For me, it was just, we're getting older in the sport, and we're running out of opportunities to do the 2-4 double. And after the 2019 season, my coach and I, we sat down and we were just like, look, we're running out of time and we want to do the double. So we're going to go out there and we're going to give it our best shot. We tried to figure out ways to get around it. Of course, training got a whole lot harder, but we put in our best foot forward. The schedule never really permits for the 2-4 double, and it's a very sad thing because I think it's a very spectacular event to watch, double to watch, and you have a lot of great 200 meter and 400 meter athletes out there who would be willing to do it if the schedule just permits it. But I would hope that in the future that things can change for the athletes to get the opportunity to do both events. And just go from there. But we definitely went out there and we did our best, but like I said, injuries got the best of us, but that's okay. I'm always one that always says that things happen for a reason, and obviously God had a reason for everything that happened, and I'm just so grateful that he allowed me to come up with a gold medal. So
we have Michelle.
Hi, yes, thank you, Sidonie. Good morning, Shaunae. The question I have, you indicated that you were intrinsically motivated. You've been in the sport since age 6. So you probably didn't have a difficulty of being distracted and ever thought of leaving the sport. But we do have the experience of a lot of young girls, pretty talented, but eventually dropping out of the sport. Mm-hmm. What advice would you have for young girls to encourage them to remain focused, keep their eye on the goal and stay in despite of the challenges? And what advice would you have for their support team, parents, administrators, coaches, to help bolster and carry a young female athlete to the top of their game?
Thank you for the question. I would say to all the young girls out there, just to first off, make sure that you love what you do. If it's something that you love, trust me, you're never going to want to quit it. It's going to be in your heart. You're going to have all of your goals that you're going to want to accomplish. I just encourage you not to ever give up. Sometimes it's going to be challenging, and sometimes you're going to hit bumps in the road, but know that everything is going to clear out, and everything is going to work out for you. So just continue to stay motivated, continue to push towards your goals, and continue to have fun in the sport. I think that's the most important thing, is to make sure that you're having fun with it. And to the support system, I always tell people they don't understand how important it is to have a great support system. For me, my parents were always there with me from the very beginning, and just to see them there, to see them at my practice sessions, to see them always motivating me and pushing me to never give up. It was a true blessing, and trust me, it means a lot to the athletes. So it's always important that we build a great support system around the athletes, to let them know that we're here for them. We're here to help push them, to help rise them up, and to help them accomplish their goals. So it's very important. And yeah.
Okay, we have one in the chat, and then Donna, you can go. You have your hand up, and then I'll read the question in the chat. Donna, you have your hand up for a question?
Yes. Question that I have for you, Shaunae, is this year there's been a lot of discussion on mental health. We've seen Simone Biles, who did not end up fully competing in the Olympics. And I wonder, what is your viewpoint on mental health, and how do you keep your mental health strong?
I think mental health is a very serious discussion that a lot of the kids should be growing up into and understanding a whole lot better. You know, track and field isn't just all about physical work, it's also about mental work. And obviously things can get very tough along the way. And I think it's just important, like I said, to have that support system that someone you can talk to, and just making sure that you get all of your emotions out, and just have someone checking up on you just to see how you're feeling and everything along that line. And don't be afraid to speak out when you're not feeling the right way. You know, you always want to be in the right mental space to be able to compete well, to be able to train well. And so it's a very important thing. And I hope that a lot more athletes can come out and speak out on it, and help share their stories, and hopefully encourage the younger athletes coming up to see that it's okay, but there's ways to push through it.
Thank you, Shaunae. We have a question in the chat, and then we have iPhone and Kenyatta. But the question from Philippa is, what was the discussion had after the finals of the 200 going into the 400, especially that you may have been discouraged, but you came out to the 400 meter final and conquered? So what was the discussion that was held?
Well, you know, first off, going into the championships, you know, me and my coach, we were recovering from an injury, and you know, we already had that chat where it was more so, no matter what happens, we keep our minds ready, we keep our bodies ready to attack, and just be prepared for whatever may come, but stay in the right mindset, regardless of the outcomes. So for me, after the 200, and possibly not even knowing if I was hurt or not, you know, I came out to the back, and me and my coach were talking, and you know, he asked me if we were okay, and we still had to go and see the doctor afterwards. But for me, it wasn't tough, I would say. It was tough. But you know, it was a little bit more calming knowing that we came into these championships with that mindset already. And for me, I know that things happen, and you know, you just have to brush it off. And once we found out that we were still healthy enough to go and push through it, the mindset changed once again, and we were just back into focus mode, and just making sure that we handle business and try to come up on top.
Thank you. So I'm checking. I see iPhone. There's no name. iPhone, you have a question?
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Shaunae. This is Tiffany Cole from the Cayman Islands. I heard earlier that you mentioned that you had a lot of injuries that you had to overcome. And I want to know, how do you mentally prepare yourself for a race coming off of an injury?
That's a good question. You know, it's very tough, and sometimes you, like my coach says, you have to turn off your mind and just go with the flow. I think that's the simplest way you can put it. But it's very tough, and it's very challenging. For me, we were really hurt in Tokyo, and even through the warm-up, you know, I was feeling a lot of pain. And for me, it was just, okay, look, it's not here. And, you know, my coach was talking to me the same time. He's like, look, it's not, you're not feeling anything, you know, just tell your mind that and tell your body that. And, you know, we were kind of just keeping that mindset of, it's okay, we're feeling a little bit of pain, but it's not going to bother. And, you know, once I got out on the track, and for me, I'm someone who kind of wakes up when I see the crowd. And I was fortunate enough for my 400 finals to have some of the athletes who were done competing to come out into the stadium and cheer us on. And so that definitely helped boost me up a little bit. And for me, it's just keeping my faith in God. And I just told myself, you know, it's either going to happen or it's not going to happen. But either way, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to put my best foot forward and leave it all in his hands. And I did, and was able to come up with a goal. And so, yeah, it's just all about tuning it off, tuning your mind off, and just going out there and just having fun and doing what you love to do.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the great questions. And Shaunae, thank you for accepting our invitation and sharing your story, and all the best in training and for the 2022 season, and for representing not only the Bahamas, but the NACAC region well. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
There you had it once again. So the Bahamas once again, 400 meters double. This time is Shaunae Miller-Uibo. winning the women's 400 meters, and as you said, and as she said rather, the whole issue of the mental preparation, and an athlete who came out of injury and had to fight all these challenges, because you had the prevalence of COVID and all these sort of things. We have to give these athletes a lot of praise for what they have had to accomplish, what they accomplished rather, with the limited time that they had for preparation to some extent, and even the preparations were limited to some extent, as you will hear from Kirani when he speaks, and then going out and performing at at that level, I should say, the world-class level. Could you imagine what it would have been like without the challenges that they face, and that's why I think we need to give a lot of praise to the athletes for what they have accomplished. So that's as we continue with the NACAC Gender Leadership Virtual, and that certainly was, the Bahamas back-to-back gold medalist, Stephen Gardner, the men's 400 meters champion, and then we heard from Shaunae Miller-Uibo, the women's 400 meters champion. No doubt, yeah. And it's, it's probably a good segue now to introduce and give Sidonie Mothersill the opportunity to introduce who we refer to still as a world champion, Karani James.
This particular athlete, his island is known for the island of spices. This athlete's performance added so much spice to the event in Tokyo. Many hurdles and obstacles had to be overcome for his triumphant return to the world stage. We heard earlier another fellow athlete shared about his sportsmanship, which is really to be admired. I would like everyone to welcome Grenadian 400 meter Olympic gold, silver, and bronze medalist, world championship medalist, Mr. Karani James. Karani, the floor is yours.
Hi, good morning to everyone, and thank you for that introduction, Sidonie. I was going to do something for myself, but since you do it, then I'll do it. So I have to say, this is still one of the most smoothest Zoom calls I've been on, and I've been on a couple for this year. So this is still one of the most smoothest ones. So, congrats to you guys, and thank you for inviting me to this event, and I'm very happy to be here, especially, such an important initiative, with changing equality. So, like for me, my journey towards the Olympics, the 2020, 2021 Olympics kind of started all the way back in 2017, I would say. As track and field athletes, we usually operate on a yearly cycle, not a 4-year cycle. Oftentimes I always get the question, after like an Olympic Games, somebody asks me, what are you going to do for the next 4 years? Well, I'm going to compete against the same guys I did this year, Stephen and all these guys for the next 4 years. So it's not like you wait for 4 years. So, but for me, it was a bit different because 2017, I had an illness, so I wasn't able to complete the whole season. And, even like in 2018, I tried to, come back soon, but still had to spend a lot of time recovering, figuring out how my body was, and things like that. So it didn't happen as the way I wanted. And 2019, I had to deal with, things in my personal life. So even then, I wasn't able to have, a full season or anything like that, but I was still able to compete at the World Championships. Still made the final. I think I got like 5th or 6th or something like that. So for me, it was just that kind of progress, that stage of progress right there, from not being able to compete in 2017 to doing a couple races in 2018 and then making back into a final in 2019. So I just look at that as a progress that, yeah, I'm still here, I'm still competing. So 2020 was unique. you know. I moved to a new city, and I'd be preparing for the games as normal. And then obviously the pandemic hit with COVID and everything. And when it looked likely that, our season was going to be canceled, that the Olympics were going to be canceled and everything, we decided to kind of shut everything down, try to stay safe and just kind of listen to where and see where the team is going, but the thing is, like, as an athlete, you can only stay home and stay inactive for so long. At a certain time, you just have your legs start itching and you want to do so. So over the summer, I just did, some light stuff in like, a park or open area, by myself, just, get some runs in, just try to stay in shape, in my apartment where I live, in my living room, I'll do like a mini circuit just to stay in shape and things like that. So you still have to kind of find a way to kind of stay fit and stay, fresh, even though you're not competing or you don't have a season. So, going into the 2021, when it was announced the Olympics was happening the next year, we try to prepare as best as we can, me and my coach and everyone. But, it really wasn't easy, because, based on where you are, the level of cases and things like that, there's different policies and different protocols. So sometimes the track we would train on, it would close. So like I say, we would have to find like an open field or a park, to run. Even sometimes like right on the street, we'd have to train on the street. So, even, a gym, thankfully the apartment where I live, we have a pretty decent sized gym. So even that helped, so it's just little things like that that really kind of help, build into the season and just try to keep me focused and not lose hope as to what the main goal is, and going into the season, competition, that was even going to be unique because it wasn't the same, the travel protocol wasn't the same as before, so you really had to kind of plan your trips carefully, plan your training and everything, because like I say, you have to kind of anticipate what was going to happen and things could change in an instant, because of cases and stuff. Different countries have different rules and all that. So you have to kind of accept the situation for what it is and just try to prepare and anticipate that things could happen. Yeah, you might plan this race, but if this country say we're not allowing people from this country, then okay, what is your backup plan and things like that. So we have to kind of look at it that way. And thankfully for me, I was able to get into all my races and have a good season where I can kind of prepare for the games as normal for the first time in like 4 years as I could, So going into the games, we had a camp in Tashikawa, I think it was like a Pan Am camp. For me, that really helped, so it helped me kind of acclimatize in Japan, get my sleep schedule right, and just kind of settle down and get my mind prepared, my body prepared, for the Olympics. And, the actual Olympics, the village and everything, and I think in modern day, this is probably the most unique, special case Olympics there is, and I still have to commend, Japan and the city of Tokyo and everyone for still making it a good experience because, considering everything, the situation, last year they had to cancel, they still had everything organized and making sure that their main goal was to keep us safe, but at the same time, have us, perform at the level that they know that we can. So, I really have to commend, the organizers, the volunteers, everyone that were part of the games that made it possible. So yeah, and then, thankfully I was able to compete and represent my country, do well. And yeah, I ended up with a bronze medal. So now I have, the three colors, the trifecta, the trinity, or whatever you call it. So yeah, I mean, it was just fantastic. And, the games, and I really enjoyed some of the performances from my colleague, some of them are here, Shaunae, Stephen, Jasmine, I mean, it was just fantastic. Like I said, considering the situation that we had where we were, 18 months ago from the Olympics, to see some of these performances for me was just amazing. And it shows that we are one of the best sports in the world, So for me, I was just grateful. I had the chance to compete, showcase my talents. Likewise, watch my, my colleagues compete. So, if anything from my story that you get, is just that you have to stay the course. Things are going to happen in your life. Sometimes it's beyond your control. Sometimes you may not even understand what the situation is, but you have to stay the course. You have to, stay motivated and stay focused and just try to do your best. As long as you do your best, the people that really matter in your life, the people that really care about you, they're going to be proud of you regardless because they know that you put in your all. So, like Stephen says, sometimes you don't have to listen to all the external noise and anything, but you have to do what's best for you and the people that you think that are worthy of your representation. So, that's the way I see it. But, so thank you guys for having me. And that's it. It's great.
Thank you, Karani. So we have several hands up, but I did want to note a comment in the chat. And Philippa is saying that it was great to see you back at the Olympic level, competed competitively after your illness, continue to do great. And then there was a comment also for Shaunae that thanks for reinforcing from Molly. Thanks for reinforcing the importance to trust the process. So we have Michelle, Michael, and then Cameron, Edith, and the Gardners in that order, please. Michelle?
Hi, thanks again, Sidoni. Good morning, Kirani. Michelle Stout from Trinidad and Tobago. For those of us old enough to remember and having witnessed, I remember seeing you at several Cariftas at the Pan Am Juniors held here in Trinidad and Tobago in 2009. But I want to specifically ask you your opinion. How important for you as a young athlete going through the process were games like the Carifta Games, for example, our Caribbean annual meet? How important for you was it participating at that level and then moving through the ranks?
Well, I mean, I think it's extremely important. I think having those games, at such a early stage in your life at that level, I think it helps kind of you figure out the level that you're at and what it takes for you to get to another level. So, and there's so many great athletes that came through the system, like, Shaunae, came through the same system and was absolutely fantastic. So I think it's important. I think as athletes, when you compete against, different countries and different athletes, you also gain friendships. You gain a certain camaraderie with guys that, you would see maybe, for the rest of your life or as long as you're competing. So you develop those relationships away from, people from your own country and things like that. And you see a different culture, you see people, for who they are, and you kind of expand your horizon as to how the world is and who people are. So I think those games are extremely important. So we have to keep that going. You have to make sure that it's at the organization is at the best, and we continue to help develop athletes through that system.
Thanks, Karani. Michael?
Hi, good morning. This is Michael Bascom here, originally from Grenada, but here in New York. Before I ask the question, thank you, NACAC, Mike Sands, Donna, and you, Sidoni, smooth host. Thank you very much. My question to Kirani, given all you have mentioned, including illness, the loss of your dear mother, even while you were recovering, and also piggybacking on Shaunae's comments on mental health, did you give thought about quitting or giving up during that period? If not, then what kept you persevering? No, not at all. And like you said, the piggyback as to what Shaunae said earlier, you need a good support system. So for me, I had a good support system to help me personally, with my family, to help me, physically, with my coach, my doctors, and things like that. And spiritually, I had,
people helped me there as well. You know, in Alabama, I had a great friend. His name is Scotty. We go through, you know, just, you know, scripture and things like that, especially like the story of Job. You know, if you guys know them, then that's a pretty unique story as to how, you know, things happen and how you keep that faith and how sometimes you question it, but, you know, what is the end and what's the end result, you know? So if you haven't read it, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's a pretty good reference as to what I've been through. But so, yeah, so obviously, like, these things are real. It happens, you know? So I'm not going to say that it didn't happen at all, where I'm just sitting, you know, in my bed in the dark on my own, thinking that, you know, what is going to happen, you know, in the future. But like I say, you need a good support system. And once you remind yourself of those people that are in your life, then you know that you can't just give up, because you know that they're there supporting you, and you want to, you know, continue to make them proud and to show them that, you know, you can still do this, you know, kind of make sure that their support doesn't go in vain. So, you know, yeah, but, you know, it happens, as it's proven, like you said, the last Olympic Games it was so prevalent, and athletes were so open in speaking about it. So I commend them for that. But in terms of quitting, for me personally, you know, I didn't have that mindset.
Thank you for that. Before Cameron asks her question, Sandra Farmer Patrick says, Karani, she enjoyed listening to your journey and congratulations. Cameron?
Becoming an Olympic athlete, what was your experience when you were training to become the Olympic athlete? And when you were training, what was your biggest inspiration coming up to be the Olympic athlete that you are today?
My biggest, you know, I would say motivation or things like that was for me personally, was to try to improve every year, you know, just try to get at a level where I haven't achieved yet, you know, and just more on a broader level it was an opportunity for me to represent my country. You know, I remember when I did, you know, my first youth championship, World Youth Championship. I think it was in Australia. You know, that was my first like global game. I think I got like second in that meet. And then when I went home on the airport, like there were people like meeting me at the airport from my community in Guam. And it was like, that was the first time I was kind of like, you know, like kind of like just taken aback. You know, I even like I didn't say it out loud, but I even like mouthed like a bad word I shouldn't have said, you know, just seeing everybody at the airport, you know, so seeing that kind of support, seeing that kind of happiness on people's faces, you know, it makes it easier for you to go out there and train hard and make sacrifices and compete. Because, you know, once you do that, you do it on a higher level, and you know that there's going to be people looking at the TV, being proud, saying they know you, they went to school with you, or they used to walk you to school and things like that, you know. So it makes it very kind of surreal and very humbling just having that kind of support. And you know, it's, you know, you want to go out and do that, you know, for those people, to help them, you know, have some kind of, even though things may not be looking good in their lives or anything, at least they have some kind of escape where they can look at the TV and be excited for someone.
Thank you. Next would be Edith, and then the Gardners and Rudy, in that order.
Karani again. I have actually been tracking your career from your Carifta days. And I met you at the Carifta Games, but was not able to speak to you then. So the first time that I actually met you in person, I don't know if you recall, was in Barcelona in 2012 at the quincentennial celebration. And I had to help you out because you weren't sure what to do, where to go, where to stand. And everyone knows the person I am. Without you being invited, I'm just going to jump in and be a part of helping to solve whatever solution there is at the time. And I've always felt close to you because with your building structure, your body structure. It reminds me so much of my eldest son, who was also an athlete in basketball. He didn't make it, it's big time, but he has the same body structure as as you have. And so from when I spoke to you in Barcelona that night when I helped you out, we met a few days after that, and we had also keep on speaking. That's the same time that I think you were the male rising star. I can't believe I was speaking the whole time and I was muted.
No, we heard you, Edith.
Oh,
Just
okay.
a few seconds.
Oh, okay, yeah. And you were the male rising star at the quincentennial event in Barcelona. And I think Anthony Strauss was the female at that time. And I even had to chip in and help with Anthony because I am the one who saw her back.
I forgot I had to join this.
To her journey because her chaperone was not able to catch the flight. And you were speaking so positive as a grown-up from then when I met you. And I see you have this thing where you say, you know. Yes, we do know. Because I have this bad thing where I say, you understand when I'm speaking. You understand. And my friends always say, yes, Edith, we understand. So we have some young athletes here on the firm today, and they're listening to you. I just would like for you to give them a few words of encouragement to stick with the sports because we lose the female athletes in the sport more than we lose the male athletes in the sports. That's why every time we have one of these forums, we try to have at least 2 or 3 male on our panel that are dear, that are involved and also can help to carry the message. So I just would like for you to give a few brief words. I don't have a question, but to our female athletes that are here to keep them pressing on with our sport.
Yeah, well, I just have to say, to the female athletes that, you have to stay motivated and, you have to just, stay the course and don't worry about any externalities or whatever people may think, what you're doing is wasting time or anything like that. But, just look at Shaunae for, the perfect example. We have the perfect example sitting right in front of us here. So you look at her career and she says, she started when she was, 6 years old, going through every level, of success, it's a perfect example right there. So, you just have to stay motivated. I think that's a big thing. And there's a lot of externalities out there, a lot of influences that you may think that, you want to be, involved in because, people say life is short or anything like that. But there's a lot of these things that is going to be there after, it's always going to be there. And it's the opportunity that we have now as athletes is not always going to be there. Like Shaunae said, I'm sorry, I'm always paraphrasing and piggybacking off what she's saying, but, it's like her, what she was saying with the doubles is that she don't know if she's going to have the opportunity the next time, so she's going to take it now. So it's the same thing. You have to, grab the opportunity that we have now and try to do it as you can.
It's very rare.
So yeah, but, and the thing is too, is you have to have good people in your life, good people that they're not going to take away from you. They're not going to expend your energy, but give you energy, that they understand what your goals are and they help contribute to those goals. Thankfully, I had good friends, in my community that helped me, that they understood where I was trying to go, what I was trying to do. So there wasn't that kind of negative influence or peer pressure or things like that. So you have to have good people in your life. And if they're not good people in your life and they're not helping you try to achieve the goals that you want to, then it's best to maybe keep them at an arm's length, or you may not, be around them so much because, your mindset is different, or they're influencing your mindset to be like them or to not be as motivated and focused as you should. So that's what I would say.
Thank you, Karani. If we didn't know then, we know now. We know.
Thank you, Edith. Thank you, Karani. So the Gardners, Miss Gardner.
What keeps you motivated?
I'm sorry?
What keeps you motivated?
Yeah, I think what keeps me motivated right now is just the idea of continue competing and enjoying the sport, you know, and having fun and meeting new people and seeing a lot of places, but also representing my country, keep on representing my country well, you know, and just having that kind of positive influence, that kind of positive energy going around, you know. So for me, it's just doing that and just, like I said, doing the sport I love. You know, for most of us, it is also a career. So, you know, it helps us in that area where we make a living. So yeah, but it's for me, I enjoy doing it, you know, so and try to represent my country and just try to make the people, like I said, the people that matter most to me proud.
Thank you. The next would be Rudy and then Michael Michelin.
Hey, Kirani. Thank you very much for all that you have done for the Grenadian people on the track and field. You are the only athlete, or one of the only athletes in the world, who have ever won every major 400-meter champion. Michael Johnson never done it. Usain Bolt never done it. What does that mean to you and to the 400 meters on a whole? I mean, I was a 400-meter runner as well. So what does that mean to you and to the 400-meter itself? Because you never done another event. So what does that mean to you in the 400?
Yeah, I think for me, it's a special, you know, accomplishment, you know, to be in that kind of group and not a lot of people are in it. But it also shows how competitive the event is and how competitive it has gotten, you know, over the last couple of years. So to still be able to compete and to still be able to go against, you know, some of the most talented guys in history, you know, for me, it's a privilege, you know, just to be around still. So yeah, I mean, it's something that, you know, I try not to take for granted.
Michael?
So how did you know that this was a right sport for you?
How did I know? Well, one, I was better than it than my other events, you know, and two is I remember I went to like it was a CUT games they call it. I'm not sure if they still have it, but it's like Caribbean Union of Teachers games. I was like maybe 12 or 13 at the time. I think that was my first time, you know, competing against the rest of the Caribbean. So, you know, growing up, you know, you always hear, you know, about the bigger countries, you know, so Jamaica, Trinidad, Bahamas, you know, doing well, you know, at the peripheral level and things like that. So I went in there and I won the 400 there against everybody, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Bahamians, everyone. I won the 400. So from that moment, I was like, okay, I can actually, if I could compete against the best in the Caribbean, then that's kind of saying something in this event. So that's when I kind of like focused in on that event. You know, every now and again, I would, in that next couple of years, I did a couple of 200s, but the 400 was always kind of my main event. So yeah.
Thanks for that. Dejan Murray would be your final question for you, Karani. Dejan?
Hi, good morning. My question to you, Kirani, is how in reach do you think the 400 record is?
How in reach?
Yeah, like how attainable do you see it being going into the next season or the season after?
Oh, well, I mean, with this group of guys, I think anything is possible. I think, as long as the conditions are right, the atmosphere is right, the right guys are in the race, then I think anything can happen. So, like I said, we're at a very kind of interesting point in this event where we have so many guys at the same time that are doing well. So, if we're all, if all these guys are in the same race, if we're all in the same race at the same time and conditions are right, the atmosphere is right, then it could happen. But everything has to be almost perfect. So, yeah.
Karani, thank you for sharing your journey. It has been a pleasure listening to you. And again, thank you for accepting the invitation to come here this morning and share your story. And I do want to add that it's such a pleasure seeing that, your sportsmanship on display, even when you're not winning. And I know that that's what makes a lot of people become fans of yours. So continue to stay true to who you are. And again, thank you for being here this morning. All the best for the 2022 season.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there you had it. And thank you very much, Sidoni Mothersill. Thank you for moderating that segment well. I thought she handled it very well. And, despite some some nuances, I would say. Yeah, but she handled it pretty well, And yeah. So, some, very good takeaways from that, A good supporting system is one of those things that, the folks spoke about. And I'm certain that you who are watching, Alana, the mom of, of Nazio, I'm certain you're aware of this supporting system. Well, just to wrap up our program, I invited one of those suspects who have been asked the question on the program. That's Rudy Sylvan. He is in, as usual, in Toronto. And saying good evening to you, Rudian.
How you doing, ma'am?
Yes, I'm okay, man.
Season greetings to you and the family.
Many happy returns.
Thank you.
Yeah, just need to see your face properly. I think you're cut off somewhere.
I'm using my tablet now, so I kind of. It's the first time I'm using it, so I kind of have to get used to it. Kind of, yeah.
Okay, right. Well, that look a little better now.
Yeah,
right. So, you were part of that discussion there about a week or two ago with those athletes from NACAC. Certainly very interesting, and I indicated also, it's was so good to see that NACAC was able to bring these athletes together, and hopefully something that they can continue. And it was good timing as well, because it's actually their off season, right? But as I was indicating, the takeaway from those athletes there, especially the good supporting system, because Kirani mentioned it, Shaunae also mentioned it, and to an extent we had Stevie mentioned it. Part of the process of them excelling is having a good supporting system. And
most definitely.
And I recall Coach Harvey Glantz of Karani James fame, spoke about that in detail when he was on this program a couple months ago, is having a supporting system around your athletes and making sure that there are people around you with positive influence. And Kirani, to an extent, alluded to that. Even though they have those who can consider to be friends, this sometimes you have to decide how far you want to stay from this person, how close you want to stay from that person. But what was some of your main takeaways from that segment there with those athletes?
Oh, most definitely. I actually have my notes because I've been waiting for us to have a discussion on that from sometime last week. But no, definitely. I have seen Kirani in many interview, but this was the best interview I've ever seen from him. Maybe because he's off season, so you have a time to breathe and kind of get things together. But that was definitely one of the best interview I've ever seen with him. You asked the
Yeah, and
question
and and
earlier
and
on.
and relaxed too, eh? You are
Yeah,
so
most
relaxed and
definitely,
all of
most
that. Yeah.
definitely. Because you asked the question to about the flag,
Yeah,
and
the
and
Stephen
it's
Gardner. Yeah.
if you look at Grenadian and a whole, this is who we are. This is not only a Kirani thing because they seem did on the world stage. It's just who Grenadians are. This is just a nature that's in us. We don't go, we congratulate someone right away. We don't suck up ourselves and go and and feel a certain way and then come back and say congratulations. We tell you right away. We hug you. We say good luck. Keep moving on. That's what we do. It is good that he displayed for us to show the world this is who we are, and I really commend him for doing that, letting them know this is who Grenadians are, because they don't see us as that. And the fact that he put that out there, it shows that we are more than just the land of spice, or we are more than just Kirani himself. We are people who have the respect and who love the sport and who want to see the best in the sport, and that we could help someone move forward just by putting a flag around them, letting them know that, hey man, I'm so happy for you. So that was really, really good, and I'm really saying that from him. And like you said, he used a piece from the song. I don't know your song. I don't know your song, but the GBSS motto, there is things in there that he displayed very well. That means he knows the song very well to display a lot of it, as a man that he is. But a lot of it that comes through from him, that I pick up from him mostly, is knowing the people around you. And that's the key thing, people to give you energy, and just having good people around you, which is very important, very, very important to keep you striving and keep you going. So that was a really, really good message for the young people. And it's something I take serious. Like, I mean, as a young lad to now, even though I'm not competing anymore, but sport is always in me. I never smoke, never, one time in my life, never. I had many opportunities to, but that athlete aspect is in me. And I had friends around me who say, yo, man, you don't need to be around here. Even friends, when they're smoking, they say, hey, you need to leave. You don't need to be around here. So I had that support as well. So that is really good. That was one of the best message I can give to young people. And then he give it. And I'm very proud of him for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, while we're on that, let's say good night to Nazio John. That's upcoming athlete. He is on the program tonight, and hopefully in the future we'll be speaking to Nazio. Nazio has been.
He had an awesome opening season. It was a really nice race. I started a race. And he looked good for the first one.
He is, and I think good prospect for the 2022 season for Nazio. Once he stays healthy and focused, I think and age is on his side as well. I think we'll have good things.
But as we're talking about his support system and the people around him, he has that around him, so that is a plus. And I think that going to make him be better than what we see now, because he had that system, he have that support around him, and he have me and you to scream in his ears, to kind of guide him in the right track. We just say it how it is for us. Like, that you're a man who speak it how you see it. If it's black, it's black. You can't say it's white if it's black. So for people to be better, we have to continue on the path. So I'm extremely, extremely happy for that.
Yeah, that's true. And but another thing that Kirani mentioned there, by the way, good night, Hudson George. That's Canada as well. Karani James is Olympic gold, silver, and bronze medalist. Yeah, a complete Olympian in himself. He also mentioned about the scripture, Job, right. And it's all about faith and, hope and, everything that comes with it, and it's good to see that, Kirani is maintaining his, his spirituality, you know.
It's so funny because when I hear him say that the first time, it really take me back to my athlete who is in Oklahoma, and when she told me that she's in Bible study, I said, huh? Because I try my best to get her to get in the Bible and stay in that path. Not that she was a bad kid, but she had another athlete from a different state in a different school, and they do Bible study. So it's kind of good that they're on the path to see the athletes who's really on the path, because they have that guidance. It will guide them, and they will see their way better. They could make better decisions, and I believe the Word of God can help them make better decisions moving forward. Like you said, he mentioned it. That's their living. That's their bread and butter. So if you make a mistake, you lose that. And in track and field, you slip, you fall. It's simple as that. So if you don't take it serious and have that spiritual aspect and that pathway to make it better, then you're in a lot of trouble. Of trouble.
All right. So Nazio is saying, just training hard and getting ready for the season. Thanks for the love and support. We'll continue showing you love and support, Nazio, and certainly urging you and hoping to motivate you to high heights.
But just before we go, I just want to commend you on a great year. With everything that goes on, man, you put on a great show. You had the right people on. You get the right message. Everybody has their opinion. It doesn't mean that it's right, but you accept that. And I just want to commend you on that. Allowing people to come and speak their mind, be free. This is a program that speak free. That you see it how you see it. You ask the questions. You give your point of view. And I want to commend you on that. It was a great year. And 2022 will be better, but it's a great year. But if you're going back, I look at Jamaica, how they did. They had a phenomenal female year. Going back again, I see how we lacking in the Caribbean in men. The men didn't show up.
Yeah,
the men did not show up this year.
Yeah,
they did not. You understand me? So so I just have to say it was a good year. It was crazy, what was going on, but it was good to see the Olympic back and track and field, that we can see it again. It was fun. It was fun to see. We see some great things, unbelievable things, So we see a freshman girl, on top of the podium, in the 800, breaking the US 800 meter record, and so it's a phenomenal season.
Yeah, and looking forward, thanks again for the compliments, and looking forward to 2022, not just in track and field, but hopefully in the other sporting disciplines that, those who were affected to some extent, they will come to the fore. No doubt we have an idea. We now have an idea of what the track and field season will look like in terms of the indoor as well as the outdoor. Lots in store. Should be a very exciting year, and I think athletes are very hungry. We're also looking at our young athletes, hoping that they can come through as well, especially the quarter mile. We have as Nazio, who's on the program now, looking on. We have him who is also focused. Nice opening season, and hopefully a good season for him in the junior college where he's at now, and our hope, Rudian, is that we can see some of these athletes making a name for themselves. Okay, we have been wondering what it will be like in the absence of a Karani James, for example, and now without a Braylon Taplin. Who are the folks that will step into the spotlight? But in terms of that, yes, we have a number of male athletes. Shamar Fletcher is another one I should have mentioned there. But I think for Grenada, we are lacking in the female.
I mean, I not only lacking on the female. I was going to get to you on that. Okay, not only in track and field, and yes, I love the sport, but we don't want to talk about track and field, and we need to see the people in the position in the Ministry of Sports in Grenada to step up, and give the athletes an opportunity. And I think they're really lacking in that position. Yes, we're dealing with COVID. Yes, there may be a financial situation, but they have to find a way to give the athletes an opportunity in everything, from netball to boxing to swimming, to cricket. They have to. You cannot only look at the sport that is striving the best. When track and field come around, you see everything because of Kirani. But then when soccer come around, yes, Grenada is up there, and then what happened? We have nothing else. They need to do better, and if it's leadership need to change, leadership need to change.
Yeah,
because we need better.
Yeah,
we
and
need
in all fairness, I agree on that as well. But here is where I place the blame. I place the blame on those national associations. Here why. A few years ago, there was the attempt, I should say, well, to an extent, of a national sports policy. And I don't think that our sports administrators understand the importance of a national sports policy, which in effect gives life to some extent to their survival in terms of sports, okay? Albeit football, which relies a lot and has the support of CONCACAF and FIFA, etc., etc. Some of the other sports do not, okay? Track and field, yes, to the World Athletics, etc., etc. But the other sports, the netball, the others, they don't, okay? Unless they have world-class, competitors, right? So here is where you have to put pressure on the authorities for a national sports policy where it outlines support for national sporting associations. But Rudian, we are very weak when it comes to that. We talk a lot and no action, because some of these sports administrators sat in symposiums related to a national sports policy, but yet for all, there is no pressure to bear on the authorities to ensure that the national sports policy comes to life. The national sports policy takes effect, and where it's lacking, then they need to do something about it. And that's our problem. So, as much as you and I may be talking about it and hoping that whether it's netball, whether it's basketball, whether it's boxing, etc., etc., it now depends on these national associations to do their bit as well. Sometimes, as I recall, I think it was a year or two ago, someone telling me, an administrator telling me, they're depending on someone like me to put pressure on the authorities. I say no. The most I can do, and the most I can do is what I'm doing now. You are in a position to meet with the minister, to meet with whoever it is, and put pressure where pressure needs to be.
I mean, we had a discussion some time back. The young people have to want to do it, but they also have to have an opening for them to do it. And there may be a lot of changes happening now, a lot of people stepping up. But over the years, they never an opening for a young person to come in. So it's always the older heads. And I'm not saying they're old, I'm not saying they're not knowledgeable, but the sport itself is different. It don't run the same way like it used to be in the old days. So you have to change with the time that we're living in for you to be better. And a lot of these other islands that we talked about, they are doing these things. Why we can't do the same? And it just take one. It could start with parishes. It could start with just within the country. So it doesn't have to be something major. But you start small to get big, but you have to open up for young people to come in. You have to give them the opportunity, because when those are there gone, who is coming in? The young people coming in will come in and do the same thing that they were doing. We need a change. We need a change. If it's I've seen in soccer, I see a lot of referees, a lot of people now is getting the certificate. I've seen a lot of this happening. So what about track and field? What about netball? Let us get referees. Let us get people involved. Let us see what we can do in boxing. Let us see what we can do in swimming. We should not rely on outside coaches now coming in and want to coach our athletes. It should be people on the inside. And then when you disrespect or not, like we known athletes who have represented Grenada, who they say they will never do nothing for Grenada again because of how they were treated. And it's sad to see that, because people like myself, I love my country, and yes, I'm out here, and anything I can do for my country, I want to do it, because they give me the opportunity to go to the Olympics, and not only because of that, it's home. It's home. That's who we are. The inspector said, and I know many other artists say, no place sweeter than home, no place. And as much as it is, so they have to be changed. They have to be changed, and I think that's what we need to fight for in 2022. Change need to come in 2022 for Grenada Athletics Association or Grenada Sporting Association, not only in athletic but the sporting body. So if change need to come, or they need to open up, listen to other people, take advice. They just listen, and even that they don't really do as well. Even though you don't do it, but you listen. They don't even do that as well. And if they do that, then they could take a little piece here and a little piece here and a little piece here, because we can give the advice because we've seen other islands do it, and we listen to other people in those countries doing it that is successful. Why can't we do the same?
Yeah, well, certainly the hope is that 2022 could be a better year for sports in Grenada. And I say a better because I think we can do better than we are doing now.
Yeah.
The hope is that we can improve on what we have accomplished and the little we have accomplished in 2022, and there is room for lots of improvement. But
and that too, and don't put everything. I know it's a body, and I know GFA have their own thing, and I know soccer is their own thing, but what the people is looking at, and I speak to the people in Grenada, soccer is the only thing that's moving, only soccer. And nothing else is taking place. So they look at it as all the resources going into the one sport and then nothing else. So that's how they look at it, right? So let's see. We say again, we had the opportunity. We have a test match coming to Grenada. The things are opening for us. Why can't we not just do better? The other countries see us as being worthy to hold those big events. So that means we have something good.
All right. There's a question here for you, Rudian. Whether you think that we should try a relay on the 20 championships?
Do you think I should try? Yes, I think they should try for under 20 under 20 games. I think we have the facility, and people are really looking for, especially coming up next year. There is a lot of events happening in 2022. There's a lot of team to be selected for in 2022, and under 20 athletes could also make a lot of those teams. So it doesn't only have to be the World Championship games that they're under 20. They can go to other games, So we should see, so I think we can do that. I really think we can.
Well, and in the context too of the under 20 championship is basically age group championship, like Carifta Games, for example. So the question though will be whether or not you have the athletes that can, compete in a relay, under 20 relay, and depending on the event, whether
but we also have to
on a 4x4,
but we also have to do one thing. It's like one of the things that I'm working on out here is finding young Grenadians who is actually competing and who wants to take it beyond just out here in Toronto or just getting a scholarship. They want to represent Grenada. They might be born Canadian, but their parents is Grenadian, and I'm working on that. So we just have to find those athletes, and they have to give them the opportunity to want to do it. If an athlete know he have an opportunity to go to the NACAC games, for an example, he's going to work hard. He's going to put the work in. He's going to try. But if he don't know and he's a question and they will come and the organization is Athletics Grenada going to say, well, we don't know who he is and we never seen him before. We don't. And if that's the mindset they have, you are losing athletes. You are losing athletes. And we have lost too many. Right. We have lost too many athletes because of that. Track and field is a one-person sport. It's a team when it's a relay, but it's a one-person sport. It's not soccer or the netball or the cricket. Track and field, one person could represent the country. Look, let's go back. How many athletes been to the Olympics? Kirani is the one that come back with gold. And he was on the CNN. Grenada was on CNN for our first gold medal. That's how far we can be. One person. They didn't talk about all the other athletes who was in the Olympics. They talk about one person. So yes, it can be done, but you have to give them that opportunity. You have to open up that for them that they want to represent. We see on the soccer team, the same thing. We have Canadian born kids out here, and American and British. They can pay for the under-19 team for Grenada as well, if that opportunity is there for them. We see it happen on the senior team. Why can't it happen on the under-15 or on the under-19? It has to happen. You have to open up that for them because they're Grenadians.
All right. Well, always a pleasure having you. It says, Ajit Simon says, we have the athletes always, but the selection of athletes are in question. And John Ockley says, thanks for this program, Mike. All the best in 2022 and beyond. Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much, all of you folks who have been part of the program for 2021. Looking forward to 2022. Well, this has been our final program for this year, albeit, right after Christmas, I'm off on deployment as per usual. So, however, our first program is sometime in January. I try to recall whether it's probably January 4th or January 9th, either the first Saturday or the first Thursday in January. January 9th. January 9th. January 4th, I will still be on deployment. Let me just double check. No. The first Saturday in January will be actually New Year's Day, which is the 1st of January. So our first program will be on the 6th of January, which is the Thursday. Okay?
Thursday.
Yeah, the Thursday, the 6th of January, right? Our first program for 2022. And no doubt, we hope that in 2022, we'll be able to try to get as much as the views, continue to get the views from many persons as possible. By the way,
and I know you put the opportunity for everyone. You give so many people, like it's soccer in Grenada. You ask almost every GFA major team, they give them the opportunity to come on, and it's on them. So it's not that you're not opening it up for anybody. You have opened it up. So
even the associations, for example, I recall we have never had officially the Grenada Athletic Association, as you recall. But when the program started, the first association to be invited was the Grenada Athletic Association. We have never had the Grenada Olympic Committee officially on the program. The Grenada Olympic Committee was also among the first to be invited to be on the program. Albeit things may change, but Grenada Athletic Association, Grenada Olympic Committee, Grenada Swimming Association. I know they have had a new executive, etc. Well, and the Grenada Boxing, the Boxing Association of Grenada, albeit all the controversy surrounding that, I'm not too sure whether or not they will accept that offer. I still sent out an offer.
I mean, and they have to also understand it is just sharing information that they have to people who listen to the program, and that we can spread it. That's really what it is. It's not asking them hard questions. It's not asking them. It's not an interview. It's just them spreading the information so that we can spread it. Yeah.
And that's why I always try to say that the program is not so much an interview, but it's a discussion.
It's a discussion.
Also a discussion. There will be a little question in and between, but it's much so a discussion where you get an opportunity to speak about issues, to speak about what you have been doing, etc., and in the process, questions.
I mean, because through the program, I know a lot of stuff that's happening in soccer. Through the program.
Well, because
because he came on. He came on and he gave the information and he said, "I would like to do that, but it's not about him. There is the body, but I would like to do that. That's what I would like to see." And and that's what we're talking about. You know, because his ideas is good, but to someone else it may not be good. But at least he have an idea. You know, once you're in charge, you have an idea. You know, and it mean you may not get it to work. I know right now Biden is struggling. He want to get his agenda together. He can't. He can't. It's not everything you're going to get, but at least you have something. You have an agenda. We just want to see our program in Grenada have an agenda, and even though you don't get everything in there, but we have an agenda. So I'm looking forward to a lot of things.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true, and I'm certain that we hopefully in 2022 will have more of these open discussions as well, where we'll be able to get the opportunity for folks to express their views, to discuss, you know, not just the administrators, but the sports enthusiasts as well. The supporters can, you know, provide insights into what they're thinking about sports. And you know, we're getting into cricket as well, where, you know, the Englishmen will be in the region. We saw the USA beating Ireland. We know Ireland going to play the West Indies in January. So, you know, as I said, I keep my fingers crossed, because if USA beating Ireland and Ireland going and play the West Indies, then we have to be concerned whether or not, you know, we are in thing, you know. But thank you very much.
And one of the key things just before we go, for those who's in Grenada listening, those out here in the United States, just be careful out there in this Christmas season. COVID it's not a joke, and it seems like it looks like we're going backwards instead of moving forward. And I just hope that the people of Grenada could just they do what they have to do, those in authority, to make sure that what we previously came out from, we don't, because that's going to create another shutdown again. That's going to create us going backwards again. And a lot of the athletes who are home wouldn't have that opportunity to compete, or kids would never have opportunity to go to school and learn better. And do it's not just for sports, but just for everyday life on a whole. And for where we come from as Grenadian in Grenada, we don't want to go back there. So be careful, wear your mask, social distance, do what you have to do, so that we could have a better 2022.
Thank you very much. I want to appreciate that comment there. Thank you very much, Rudian, and all the best for the season and for 2022, you and family.
Thank you, man. I will see you in January.
Yeah, okay.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you. All right then. Okay, so that's Rudy Sylvan live in Toronto, Canada, and live here in Brooklyn, New York. Thank you, everyone, for being part of the program. Rudian and Lincoln, Deputy in Toronto, usual suspects. Alana, thanks very much for your comments. And well, the family, you know, Alana, John, Nazio, as well as Fernando, thank you for being part of the program, and all those who have been part of the program this evening. John Otley as well, thank you. You know, Jeremiah, yes, I think you might be still around. I want to thank you for being part of the program, and all those who have participated in the program over the past few months. I really want to thank you for supporting the program. The program is always available as a podcast. You can always go back and look at it on YouTube as well as Facebook. It's also on Twitter, and you can always review it. Yeah, looking forward to your support in 2022. You know, when we continue to discuss sporting issues, not just in Grenada, but all across the Caribbean. I want to thank you very much for being around. And my wish to you and family is the best of the season. And as Rudian was saying, please be mindful, be careful. We do not want to, regress. We have made a lot of progress in terms of the COVID. Just a bit of worry because I understood that we had as many as 21 positive cases in Grenada. I think it's probably today, if I'm not mistaken. It's a bit of bother, and it seems as if it's on the rise now. We have to be very mindful of, especially of the season. I know it's a festive season for a lot of people, festive for a lot of people, not all, but be mindful that COVID is still around, okay? And after all is said and done, you know, life continues. Life continues, okay? Thank you very much. All the best. Happy holidays to everyone. And see you then back on our first program for the new year will be on Thursday, January 6th, 2022. I want to thank you very much for supporting our program, being on the program, all your comments, and hopefully in the new year, we'll have some new faces, new comments, and some new engagements, I should say. Thank you very much, and all the best.